Hey, it's Mrs. Francis here, and in this video, I'll be demonstrating how to sketch a graph of a trigonometric function. All right, so here we go. The question is, sketch one cycle of a graph of the given function. Pretty scary, I know, so let's get started. The first thing you have to understand is how the parent function works. And here we have the unit circle, and we have all the coordinates, and we have the angles labeled in both radians and degrees. And remember, the coordinates are x comma y, or cosine theta, sine theta, x comma y, cosine comma sine. And we're graphing cosine. So at 0, the cosine is 1. At pi over 2, the cosine is 0. At pi, the cosine is -1, and so forth. So when we graph that, we get max, 0, min, 0, max. We get a 5-point pattern. That's going to happen every time. Now, the only thing that could change it is if we put a negative right out front here, the maxes would change to mins and the mins would change to maxes. So this is the format that we need our function in. A is the amplitude, B is going to tell us our period, K is the vertical translation, and H is the phase shift or the horizontal translation. All right, so it's not quite in that format, so the first thing that we need to do is pull a 4 out front. We need a 4 in front of the parentheses, not inside. And we can't just pull a 4 out and not change anything here. What we're going to do is we're going to multiply by the reciprocal in front of the second part of that term. So we end up back where we started, right? Because 4 times theta is 4 theta, and 4 times 1 over 4 just gives us 1, and that would truly bring us back to 2 pi over 3. So just keep in mind, whatever value is here, you put out front, and then put the reciprocal of that number in front of the second part of the term. Simplify that, and now we're in the right format. All right, so we have our format. We're all cleaned up. We're ready to take a look at all the different things we need to know. So the amplitude is a half. The period is going to be 2 pi over b, which is 2 pi over 4 or pi over 2. Our vertical translation we know is down 1, and we know our phase shift is right pi over 6. Okay, because remember, it's the opposite of what's inside the parentheses. All right, here's all our information. Now, we're going to just sketch one cycle. So normally we'd begin at 0 and we'd end where the period ends, and the period ends at pi over 2. But we do have a phase shift of right pi over 6. So we have to add pi over 6 to the beginning. That's easy. 0 plus pi over 6 is pi over 6. And then we have to add pi over 6 to pi over 2. Okay, I know you don't like fractions, but you're going to have to find a common denominator, simplify it, and then we'll get our new end. So based on our phase shift, we're going to begin at pi over 6 and we're going to end at 2 pi over 3. All right, so we're all ready to go. Now we're ready to sketch one cycle of this graph. So we draw our graph, and we're going to draw remember we have a 5-point pattern, so we need 5 tick marks, and we start at pi over 6 and we end at 2 pi over 3. We also know that we're going down 1, so we're going to have our center of our graph at -1. And we're going to go up a half and down a half because amplitude is the distance from the center up to the top and to the bottom. Draw our sides. Remembering our pattern is max 0, min 0, max. We just map that right into our box. And keep in mind now, this is just one cycle, so the graph is going to go left and right infinitely. We've only sketched one cycle. So I know there's a lot in this video. You may have to pause it here and there. Good luck. I know you can do it.